Hi everyone, my name is Alexa. I am a stay-at-home mom of 3. I'm a wife, I'm a Christian, and I have 2 babies on the way, and I could not be more shocked. I still cannot believe that's coming out of my mouth. I just found this out 3 days ago, so I'm gonna have a video soon on how I found out. But today I wanted to do signs and symptoms of twin pregnancy because there were a lot, and I thought about doing a video on how I knew I was pregnant with twins, but I just feel like I really only knew because of intuition, because God made it very clear. But there's a whole story on that because I didn't find out that I had twins until 13 weeks, so I had let it go for a really long time. But today we're going to do signs and symptoms. I'm very blessed because I did not have some of the severity that people have when they have twins, like hospitalization because they're throwing up so much, etc., etc. But I obviously have had 3 singleton pregnancies before, so I have a lot to compare this pregnancy to. And to me, I just felt like the symptoms weren't the telltale sign. Even though I had so many, it was not enough to convince me that I was pregnant with twins once they had told me there was only one baby at the first ultrasound. So that's a whole different story for a whole different day. But today I've written down some signs and symptoms that I've had. I think I got everything down here. There was a lot, and I remember the beginning very clearly because we were trying, and I remember the first thing that I experienced was I felt myself ovulate, which I had never really felt myself ovulate. Like, I would know by my mood when I was ovulating, but I had never felt it. And one evening when me and my husband were on the couch, I literally felt so much happening in my stomach, which was super weird. And I don't know, obviously, if these twins are fraternal or identical yet, but if they're fraternal, I've released 2 eggs. So that could be why I felt it, but it was just weird. And then after that, after ovulation, very quickly after, I've had so much gurgling in my stomach. Like, I was looking up everywhere, can you get pregnant? Or are you pregnant if you're literally gurgling before implantation? Like, your stomach is non-stop just like gurgling. And there was gas associated with it, but it wasn't to the point where like the gas was, I don't know how to explain it. Like, it wasn't just gas gurgling, even though that was a huge part. It was just like non-stop things happening in my stomach. And so that was a huge sign that I was pregnant at the beginning, which I had not had with my other 3 pregnancies. I also had cramps and have had them on and off, but very common in early pregnancy. And one of the seriously most obvious things was how early I started showing. I started showing like the week I found out I was pregnant, and everything I looked up was like, it's just bloating, you're not showing, like, you're crazy. But this is my 4th pregnancy, so I was like, well, I'm probably just showing sooner because it's my 4th pregnancy. But I just felt like I was showing immediately, literally. So that's a huge one. And I had an early positive, so I was trying, me and my husband were trying to get pregnant, but it just happened way faster than we expected. And the early positive was like, I think it was like 10 DPO, and I had tested and it was positive, and it wasn't like so dark that I was like, oh, this is definitely twins, but I had thought about that at that moment. It's crazy because it was about a week after my positive that I really started like obsessively researching like signs and symptoms of twin pregnancies. How do I know I'm having twins? Like, I seriously felt like I was. But just so much of what I read was like, you're not gonna have twins if you're like, basically so much of what I read was very much saying that so many people think that they're having twins and are wrong, and so don't convince yourself of something that's not true. And that kind of made me feel like, okay, maybe I'm being crazy, because so many times I thought I was pregnant when I wasn't. And I just wasn't great at guessing when I was pregnant. But for some reason, I really felt like there were twins in there, and I never felt that with any of the other singleton pregnancies that I had. So that was like 0 to 4 weeks, what I just mentioned. So like the feeling ovulation, cramps, gurgly gas, showing immediately, and the early positive and all of those things, like that was very early on, maybe the 0 to 5 weeks. And then from 4 to 13, I kind of bunched all of those symptoms together because they all came around that time and lasted basically the whole time. So I did start peeing a lot from the beginning, and I just remember with my first pregnancy specifically peeing all the time, very early, like before I even knew I was pregnant. And so I didn't feel like that was a sign, but yes, I peed a lot. But some people are like, oh, you pee 10 times a night the first month when you're pregnant. And it just wasn't like that. I was already getting up in the night to pee though, which was alarming and made me question if it were twins for sure. Oh my goodness. Another thing that I experienced was so hungry. Like I was so hungry. And with my other pregnancies, I think each one I lost weight the first trimester because I was not that hungry, and also with like morning sickness and stuff, I just wasn't eating like necessarily 3 meals a day with the singleton pregnancies. But with this pregnancy, I was eating like, I was trying really hard to eat healthy and limit it, but I was so hungry the entire day, every day, and I still am very hungry. I actually feel like I'm more hungry now. Like it's not, I'm 13 weeks, by the way. So I feel like right now I'm even more hungry than I was at the beginning. But at the beginning, like first 8 weeks, it was like bad. I was so hungry. And I'm feeling like I'm getting back to that. But yes, being very hungry and just not feeling like I could eat anything because everything was gross. I just had like the worst food aversions, and I still do. I feel like more things sound good now, but I'm trying not to eat like garbage. So it's not like I'm just like, oh, McDonald's sounds good, I'm gonna go there. I'm trying really hard to not do that because I gained so much weight with each singleton pregnancy. So it just felt like nothing sounded good, and in the mornings are the worst because I feel like all I want are carbs and nothing else. So that's a huge part, is I'm just hungry but nothing tastes good. So like the things that are available for me to eat that won't make me throw up are just like dwindling into less and less options. But the 12th and 13th week, which I'm in the 14th week now, things have started to get better with that. I still am throwing up in the mornings, but it's not like all day, which my nausea has been all day, all the time. Okay, this is a really good one because I've never heard anyone say this, and maybe it's just me being gross, but I've had such bad BO under my armpits, and I am using like native deodorant, but it's not working. So I've started using my husband's again, even though it's not great for you. And this is another symptom that I had was I actually had a mammogram on my breast because there were bumps very early. Like I told my doctor at the week 8 appointment, and then she sent me to get a breast ultrasound, and it ended up being nothing, but I just have never felt bumps in my boobs before. So it felt like immediately milk is starting to try to be made, which had made my breasts feel different and obviously heavy, another symptom like sore and heavy, but I just felt like very used to that from all of my pregnancies. So again, not a huge sign for me, but looking back at all of these together, it all just adds up. Okay, So peeing a lot, tired, hungry like crazy, nausea and vomiting, armpits stink, everything tastes gross and makes me want to throw up, and my boobs, obviously. I also have noticed, like looking back now, I'm like, I've had a lot of discharge, which before I would have never really, I guess, I thought that was twins, but I have had so much discharge that I didn't have in the other 3 pregnancies, so it makes sense for sure that there's extra discharge when there's 2 babies in there. And then there's 2 more that I really want to get to, and these are the interesting ones, but these both started later in the 2nd trimester. So I think what I've been experiencing specifically for 2 days last week was very severe stomach pain, and I think it's round ligament pain, but so many people describe that as like a sharp pain in their groin, and that's not what I'm experiencing. It's just like feels like my stomach's growing and it hurts and it feels like pulling. And there were 2 evenings where it was so unbearable and I had to be out of the house for my kids for soccer, and so I just had to deal with it, but it was just so painful. And that was right before I found out I was pregnant. That was Monday and Tuesday with twins. That was Monday and Tuesday, and I found out I had twins in my stomach on Wednesday. So it made so much sense when I went to the hospital and they told me that. And last but not least, this is by far the worst symptom of them all, and that is a terrible pregnancy rash all over my body that is just spreading and growing and getting worse. And it itches so bad, and I just have to not itch it. So people have said they've gotten diagnosed with PUPS very early, PUPS pregnancy rash. I don't know if it's PUPS. There are other types of pregnancy rashes. I haven't been able to get answers on that yet, but I do know that it is absolutely miserable, and I'm only 13 weeks pregnant. It started at 11 or 12 weeks pregnant, and I'm just miserable with it. It's like we'll move places. I'll wake up in the night. Like the other day, it started to move to my arms, and it'll go away in other areas, but keep spreading, and it itches so bad. So if you have dealt with a pregnancy rash before and been able to do things that made it feel better, hopefully natural things, please comment and let me know, because I'm trying to figure it out. I'm hopefully gonna have a video soon on how to cure it, or how I cured mine at least. That's what I'm hoping, because I do feel like slowly it's getting better, and I am trying some things, but it's still really itchy, and I'm not trying to do that this whole pregnancy. So hopefully I have a video on that coming up. So yeah, those are my symptoms and signs of twin pregnancy. I know a lot of those are singleton pregnancy related and can happen. And I think the reason I so diminish maybe my symptoms are because with my 2nd pregnancy with my son, I was so sick that I couldn't even just all day throwing up. I was miserable, and I don't know if in my head I made it worse than it is, so now it doesn't look as bad, but I definitely just compare my pregnancy to that and thought, well, at least I'm not throwing up all day, every day, like I was with him. And my throw ups didn't stop after the 1st trimester with him. So I just have had a lot of gratitude that I'm not doing that. But y'all, I don't know, I feel like I didn't mention the fatigue, but that is the single-handedly the most obvious sign for me, has been how tired I've been every single day, all the time. And I have 3 kids I'm raising. Thank God I don't have to go to work every day. I'm grateful for that. But my youngest stays home with me. My 2 oldest go to school. They have their last week of school next week, which is amazing because I'm in my 2nd trimester now. So I don't foresee me being as tired as I've been. But oh my gosh, y'all, the fatigue. I've been so tired. Just exhausted. And thankfully in the mornings things are better. I feel like I have a burst of energy, but by noon I'm done. I can't. So, and definitely by 2, it's the second half of the day, 2 to bedtime, has been miserable, where I just can't clean my house. I literally have no motivation or energy to clean my house or cook dinner, which I like to cook dinner. Like, I find joy in that. But lately it's just like, no, I don't want to. And I obviously do, like I have to do it, but we have been eating out more often than we were before just because I have no energy. And it's seriously looking so much better the past week or two. Praise God. I really have been praying for that. But I'm hoping that I get a lot more energy soon, because today it hit 12 o'clock and I was like, I need a nap. And I have to get my kids at 2, like be on my way to get them. So sometimes I would be able to nap with my daughter from 12 to 2 at time, like between those hours. But their last week of school is coming up and it's just gonna be harder to find time to nap. I don't even know if that'll be possible when my husband's working, but hopefully I won't be as tired. The second trimester is like the best, right? That's what I'm hoping for. So praise God, there are 2 babies. I'm shocked. I can't believe this is happening. This is literally single-handedly the craziest thing that has happened in my life. And I'm gonna be sharing all about it. I have so many ideas on videos to share because now we're a family of 7, and like figuring that out is gonna be a huge learning curve. And I also want to add before I end this video, for those of you who maybe are pregnant with twins or will find out in the future, hopefully, that you're pregnant with twins, I think it's really important to, that's the fridge, sorry. It's really important to be careful what you're looking up, because yesterday I had looked up a bunch of stuff just for advice, and I don't have Facebook, but I had created one just to join groups, like a fake Facebook, to join groups to see what people said about twins. And there was just so much negativity and fear surrounding that. And then on top, so I deleted it the same day. But on top of that, the advice that if you look up articles like what you need for twins and stuff, there's so many things on there that I don't feel like are like what you need for twins. Like that's like what would make your life maybe feel a little better, and it's a plus, but not like life-changing things on so many of these articles. And I really have a budget. Like that's the scariest part of this whole thing, is like cost. And so I'm gonna be creating videos on how, because I've had 3 kids, I feel like this is what the Lord has showed me. Like, you've had 3 kids, you know how to do this, you know what you need, and you know what to double. You've got this. So that's what I'm leaning on. I trust God. I know that He's in control, He's guiding. And I just encourage everyone to be very careful what you read and what you're intaking, and don't let things overcome your mind and your heart with fear, because the Bible says, don't be anxious for anything, and everything with prayer and supplication, make your requests be made known to God. And that is what I keep leaning on, is He's in control. Even if it looks super scary, because there are things we need, there are also things that we can live without and still thrive as twin moms. So that's crazy, twin moms. Just saying that is crazy. Cannot wait to get a video out about how I found out. That's going to be a really good one. So please stay tuned and follow, if you subscribe, if you like this kind of content, if you're having twins with me in 2024 or 2025, I guess now, if you're getting pregnant recently. And click the bell for notifications. I'm going to be posting hopefully very often. So stay tuned. Thank you all for watching and have a blessed day.